Now that the NBA Combine has concluded, Bleacher Report has released their mock draft. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the Bulls mock draft with two interesting players being selected by our Chicago Bulls in the first round. And then there were two assistant coaches, let go by the Golden State Warriors that could be interesting candidates, in my opinion, for our Chicago Bulls. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you gotta hear the music first. Cognac, gang. Shy Boys podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down for your latest around the Chicago Bulls, man. We are on our road to 10K. So make sure you go ahead and support the channel. It's real simple. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you turn on your notification bell because myself and my co-host C-Dub will be bringing you the latest all off season long, especially because we have a lot of things to talk about and it's much more exciting than last year. I tell you that much. But hey, the combine, man, is now concluded for the NBA combine. And there were a number of things that we heard come out of the NBA combine from a number of analysts and writers that support the NBA. We heard a lot of good things, how Cameron Carr has really started to rise up draft charts because of his performance during the scrimmages. We got a number of things to where we seen there is a little bit closer gap between the athleticism of Caleb Wilson and Cam Boozer, and many, many more things, you know what I'm saying? And Bleacher Report, they went out there and released a mock draft. I think it was very, very interesting. Yeah, you see a couple things and a couple moves and a couple players that you'll be like, damn, he really rose up this high. But you know what we going to focus on? We're trying to see what are the best two players that are available for our Chicago Bulls. In a dream scenario, it'll be at the fourth pick, Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson. And then at 15, Cam Carr. I'm not going to lie to you, or a guy like a Daymara or something like that. But according to Bleacher Report and their belief with their mock draft, they have the Chicago Bulls at number 4 selecting Caleb Wilson. And I think that'll be a really good pick for the Chicago Bulls. I said it many, many times that I believe that you can't go wrong with Caleb Wilson or Cam Boozer. But according to this mock draft, selecting Caleb Wilson and just having that idea formulate in the fast break of having options of Montes Buzelis and this athletic kid being able to attack the rim, and you looking at his defensive tenacity and how he can continue to grow at that position, or at least on that side of the basketball court, and then adding that on with the shot blocking ability with Montes Buzelis. So on one side you got Montes, and then on the other side you got Caleb Wilson. Oh my goodness. All we need is a good center now at that particular moment in time. But man, that will be something I will love to watch from day one. I literally watched Summer League all season. As long as I've been covering the Chicago Bulls, I've been watching Summer League, and you damn sure, if time permits and I ain't got too much going on, I'm turning on that TV. And if I miss something with Caleb Wilson in a Chicago Bulls uniform in Summer League, I'm going back and watching the whole entire game. I don't want to see no highlights. I don't want to see nothing. I want to watch the whole entire game. But he's not here yet. We're going to see what happens with that, but I wouldn't be mad at having Caleb Wilson at number 4. And according to Bleacher Report, with the 15th pick, the Chicago Bulls will select Jaden Quaintance out of Kentucky. Now, I just want to put it out there. He only played 4 games last season due to an injury, but he is a 6'10" power forward that also will bring some slap into Chicago. He definitely has the size, the length, the athleticism, and the physicality to go out there and compete. a lot of things that I saw when it came to Jaden, just checking him out, is that, man, he gonna try to block some stuff. And now you have to go back, at least in my opinion, to where to get a bit more of a feel from him, you have to go back to when his time in Arizona State before transferring to Kentucky to really get a good idea of his game. This guy's a rim runner. He gonna be able to get up and down the floor. He gonna be able to be physical, 6'10", 255 pounds. Man, with the, I think he got like a 9-foot reach or something like that. It's crazy work. And I think that that'll be a good selection for the Chicago Bulls, no doubt. I think that you need a lot of physical guys on this team. We need to really, really finally hone in on size and athleticism and bigs, you know what I'm saying, in this draft to help our team. Yeah, they talked about it in years past, but we always had moments where we're like, okay, y'all said y'all wanted a center and bring more physicality, but it's still missing, my guy. What are we doing? But we ain't got to focus too much on old stuff. It's just for reference. But I do like Jaden Quainton's basketball game. I feel like he can add more, you know what I'm saying, offensively to his game, but that's no prospect is perfect entering this draft. You definitely like what he can do defensively. I think he's more ready on that side of the basketball court, but offensively, you still want to see him, you know, develop a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a crazy efficient 3-point shooter, but you know what I'm saying? You want to see him add that or get a much better uh in his game when it comes to the 3-point shot, because you definitely want to be able to stretch the floor just a little bit more, especially if he's going to play the power forward position for the Chicago Bulls, or you know, come off the bench for the Chicago Bulls. But he still can add a physical presence to what we're trying to do as a team. Now, I did have one question though. I did have one question. Considering the injury, how confident are we that he can enter the NBA and not run into that same knee injury that he dealt with, you know, early on throughout his career? Because we seen, yeah, some guys may be able to still have a long career, you know what I'm saying? I.e., guys like Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, who came out of college with some injuries and stuff like that. How confident should or can we be with Jaden coming out of college, only playing 4 games, that he can, you know what I'm saying, give us enough time to properly evaluate him, to properly develop him? I think that's an interesting question. I think that he can still enter the league and have a productive career. It's just one of those things that I always ask, especially considering your injuries or whatnot, because I need my team to have enough players so we can build this thing out properly, but they need to be available. So it's not knocking them and saying that he's gonna automatically be injured. It's just one big question that I have to ask. And for those that are wondering why in the mock draft wasn't the Bulls selecting Cameron Carr, that's because he went right before the Chicago Bulls at 14. And then you may ask, what about Mara out of Michigan? Well, he moved up the draft charts and went 8th to the Hawks. So that's what left us with Jaden Quaintance. And I did want to throw in another name. Considering all that I said about the injury for Jaden Quaintance, how would you guys feel about Morez Johnson out of Michigan? Yeah, he's probably an inch shorter. Yeah, he's probably a bit 5 pounds lighter. But just watching this guy, I think he's more ready offensively. I think that he's probably equally the same or probably a little bit more athletic than Jaden Quaintance, just looking at it. And the defense is right there up with Jaden Quaintance, just looking at a guy. Now, they had Morez Johnson going later than the 15th pick, actually going to Oklahoma City. And I think that if you're considering Jaden Quaintance, why not take a look at Morez Johnson, who I believe has a little bit more in his offensive bag and is equally as athletic, same defensively, that you can go out there and utilize. And he's coming from a big time season. He played all 40 games last year. He was very, very durable. He brings that physicality that you need. He has and fits the SLAP acronym that we're trying to throw out there for the Chicago Bulls. So it's not to say that you have to automatically select Morez Johnson. I just want to know, is he somebody you guys think that he should be, looked at just a little bit closer, because we do have some confirmed names that the Chicago Bulls have spoke with already. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be more guys that they're going to speak with. So they pretty much spoke to the big four, you know what I'm saying? AJ, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson. But they also spoke to guys like Darius Acuff, Nate Ament. We just talked about Jaden Quaintance. They spoke with him as well. And then they also spoke with the player in LeBaron Fallon Jr. So it's a number of things that, and a number of ways that the Chicago Bulls can go with this. And just mentioning, or added in just a little bit of information from the guys that the Bulls already met with. Nate Ament is 6'10", small forward. So small forward, power forward. So, and that's a guy that has a little bit more with the handle, can handle a little bit more on the leaner side. So he could add some length, athleticism, and physicality as well. Definitely have some questions when it comes to his 3-point shot as a guy that's going to take a number of shots. But hey, that's another guy that the Chicago Bulls could be potentially looking at 15. So I'm not out on Jaden Quaintance at all. I'm just trying to provide us with a number of options that we could potentially be looking at 15. You know what I'm saying? The Chicago Bulls could very well move out of 15 by either trading up or getting, you know what I'm saying, getting a little bit getting aggressive by trading up, or saying, you know what, we believe our guy's going to be back, we'll move back. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that could possibly happen. And I would like a Jaden Quaintance here. My favorite, though, out of the two, if we're comparing and saying like, Bobby, and you guys want me to put it on wax, I will go with Morris Johnson if we're comparing the two. That's just me, though. How do you guys feel about that? And how do you guys feel about the mock draft that was placed and that we just discussed via Bleacher Report? Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. Now, before we get up out of here, I want to talk about more coaches entering the market for the Chicago Bulls when they go out there and start their head coaching search. We already know that Bryson Graham has put it out there that he wants to first get the front office in place, and then they will start going after the head coach that they believe shall lead this next era of Chicago Bulls basketball. We already went in previous episodes, and there has been discussions amongst us in the comment box, and I'm pretty sure you guys have discussed it or thought about it on your own. We talked about guys like Rondo. We talked about guys like Micah Nori from Minnesota, Chris Quinn down in Miami, so on and so forth, even me bringing up names like Sam Cassell. But we just received news yesterday that 2 assistant coaches with experience will be leaving the Golden State Warriors. Those 2 names include Jerry Stackhouse and Terry Stotts. Now, when we talk about Terry Stotts, he's been around since 94. Yes, I said 4. I know it's 94, but 94. That's how long he's been around NBA basketball. Starting off as an assistant with the Seattle Supersonics. And, he spent 2 years with Atlanta as a head coach, 2 years with Milwaukee as a head coach, and 9 years what I mostly know him for as a head coach with the Portland Trailblazers, and spent the last few years with the Golden State Warriors. So I'm not opposed to bringing in a guy like that, you know what I'm saying, who's going to bring a lot of experience, just finish up a tenure with a championship organization, who has seen the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows as of recently. So I'm not opposed of it. But the better of the 2, in my opinion, is Jerry Stackhouse. That's just my personal opinion. Now, Jerry Stackhouse, we all know him as a former NBA player, but he also has head coaching experience on the college level and the NBA level. In 2016 through 2018, he was head coach for the Raptors 905 G League team, where he was the head coach there and went to back-to-back G League finals. Take it for what you will. I'm just giving you the information so you can draw your own conclusions. He was an assistant with the Memphis Grizzlies back in 2018 and 2019, and he coached at Vanderbilt from 2019 to 2024, winning SEC Coach of the Year. And then spent the last few years with the Golden State Warriors and is now on the market. Very, very impressive, in my opinion, for both candidates. But if we're talking about who do I believe or like more than the other right now for, for the Chicago Bulls, I would go with a Jerry Stackhouse because the resume is there, the competition is there. You know what I'm saying? Being around good organizations and going out on a limb to do things on your own and having those situations end with positive results. Not to say that Terry Stotts has not had some situations that ended in positive results. We remember they went toe to toe with Golden State for a long time in Portland. It's just bad. Maybe they could have had more success. Maybe they couldn't. You know what I'm saying? But when you run against a damn team like Steph Curry and them Golden State Warriors, everybody was in trouble in the Western Conference. Let's just call it how we see it. I like both guys, but I would like Jerry Stackhouse just a little bit more. And that throws an extra name into the hat for the Chicago Bulls to go out there and properly find or have a wide net of experienced guys, whether that was in an assistant role, whether that was in a head coaching role, to find the best candidate. And we talked about Wes Unseld Jr. Look, I understand he might not be a bum as a head coach. I don't know him too often. I know he spent some time as the head coach in Washington. However, once again, we need a fresh car. We don't want the used car. And that's not to say he can't lead the Chicago Bulls, but I think there is a lot of candidates out there that can help keep this house fresh to where we can make this house a home. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have consistency from Bryson Graham all the way down to the 15th player and spreading throughout the damn G League just in case. So we need to build this thing up properly, in my personal opinion, and we'll see what happens. But they have extra names in the bucket now that so they can go out there and ensure that they are getting the right head coach for developmental purposes, for leadership purposes, and experience. They have a lot of options. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode, man. Before you get up out of here, ensure that you hit that like button and subscribe. We are on the road to 10K. It's a simple task, but it pays a lot, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red, and y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace. Cognac.